Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, June 2nd, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you get any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area. We'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here, July corn up 3 1/4 at 447 1/4. July soybeans are down 2 1/4 at 1039 1/2. And July Chicago wheat was up 11 3/4 at 545 3/4. No export sales. Excuse me, no export sales announcements here this morning. We will get USDA April crush figures at 2 o'clock Central. Estimates for a little over 201 million bushels for beans, and oil stocks are a little over 2.1 billion pounds estimated. So we'll take a look at those and visit about that there tomorrow. Looking at ahead to this week, what we know today. Really non-threatening weather pattern by all accounts. Looks pretty friendly for this crop so far. We got a back and forth with China. Seems like the rhetoric continues to escalate there. Trump is supposed to talk to Xi at some point this week, so we'll have to see and be glued to the headlines there. And then also, Russia and Ukraine are meeting right now. That's after really highly escalated fighting over the weekend. So I'd be interested to see what comes out of those talks as well. So good morning, guys. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. Dustin, maybe share a few thoughts here as we start the week, kind of some things that are on your mind, and then we'll throw it around the room.
Yeah, we kind of been joking. It feels like until something changes, like it's the same story every week. We up sharply overnight, obviously on this escalation, but just in the last year, war premium seems to kind of just roll right off the market. We have noted that wheat bean connection. It seems like the two cannot go in the same direction at any given day. So maybe there's some unwinding of spreads overnight that could be part of it. There's not a lot to go on, to be honest, right now. I think that it's unfortunate we're relying on mostly geopolitical events and trying to hedge around potential increased, government payments or not. That's kind of where our world is right now. And it does feel like we're getting lulled to sleep a little bit. I think a lot of people are, don't expect the market to rally, and that's starting to just show up in option pricing. So if there is something that does, impact the longer term forecast, it starts getting hotter and drier for late June, July, like a lot of the forecasters were calling for early on, then it could get really, really interesting just because of the position sizing going into it. But for right now, we're just watching headlines and waiting for news. It's kind of unfortunate.
Ben, what's on your mind?
Over the weekend, that's it. I felt like I think Dustin used some really good words before we got here, what seemed like a pretty significant escalation. And where the U.S. falls in this, I think will be interesting. Or rumblings go around that it was coordinated attack by multiple clandestine agencies. I don't know. I just know that the anger level there is going up. The retaliation will be considerable. And it doesn't feel like there's an end to this on the same day that they're meeting to try to come to an end to this war. So that's pretty wonky. The wheat market has definitely been really heavy for a couple of years now, and we're going to have some big rains across hard red wheat areas, which is not optimal for harvest. We've got a really absurd short in the SRW, and you just wonder, is this one of those beginning rocks that could maybe start into a risk off mode in wheat, which I think that's what it would have to take. I still don't know how the short in wheat at 2x the size of the SRW crop expects to get paid even at harvest. I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to cash sell wheat, in the last half of June, first half of July. So we'll see. As far as corn goes, while things are pretty benign, it's not been an optimal start except for Northern Illinois and Iowa. There's little problematic places all over the Eastern Corn Belt. There's certainly some concerns in the Delta from too much rain in places, and a wide swing of weather in the plains. So I don't know. I think there's a lot in front of us with grain markets.
Yeah. Justin, the weather just appears too good right now. I think along with what the guys have said, we're just kind of in a sit and wait type of pattern here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what, Dustin and Ben have said. I mean, we're just there's not a lot of interest in the trading community to participate in these markets. There's just not a story right now. So I do think we're kind of being lulled to sleep. Interest, you look at like commitment of traders, like, longs and shorts getting out to some degree. I don't think it's an interesting place to be short, like as a trader perspective, at all, but it's also not that interesting to be long right now. So I think you could see it last week in the market. It's just super boring. For this time of year, it doesn't happen very often. Usually it's ramping up, right? You're getting open interest going up. You're getting people with strong opinions one way or the other. So you get participation. And I feel like it's the opposite right now. No strong opinions. A lot of that could be because of geopolitical, backdrops that are happening, trade wars. You don't really know which way things are going to go. Yeah, so I think that's just everyone's kind of in the wait and see mood, and at the same time, to your point, weather's been good, and it's too good to get excited about a rally right now. Farmers getting planted. It looked like a lot of old crop corn was moving last week, kind of weighing on the markets too. Probably some more bushels that had to be sold, now that the crop got planted for cash flow needs and all those kinds of things. To Ben's point about wheat, it's interesting, like spring wheat, for example, it's up over 60 cents from the low. It's above the 200-day. It's the highest in almost 3 months. So, yeah, maybe to Ben's point, maybe we push some of these things down too far. I think corn, for example, is one of those where we keep pushing it down to the low and there's just too much, support down there right now. And then every time we rally, it's, like I said, weather's been too good. The forecast has been too good, and there's still enough farmer selling that has to happen on rallies. So yeah, it's not exciting to talk about. It's not an exciting market right now. So it's a big choppy sideways market. I think the only people really making money are ones that are fading 20 and 30 cent moves. So.
Oh, very good. Real quick, Rylan, let's move over to livestock. Cattle slaughter kind of surprised everyone, much lower than anticipated. And then pork cutout caught fire last week, up $6. So I guess give us some of your thoughts as we start the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these tighter kills still supporting beef right now. I mean, new highs for the move and choice. Select was up another $3. So just seems like that demand is really strong right now. I mean, 50s, 90s, are all making new highs for the move. So that demand is here, but the question is, are we going to see this kind of topping kind of price action that we would typically see this time of year? So there's some real concern there. How long can they keep the slaughters this tight? So, I mean, cash is obviously very strong, 222 in the south, 235 in the north. So like we're up anywhere between $2 to $5. So everybody's looking at the discount on the board. We got option expiration on Friday. We got first notice day next Monday. So there's going to be some pretty interesting trade ahead. I'd expect a relatively volatile kind of next few weeks here as we get into delivery off the June contract and see if that basis really starts to tighten up, or if we see beef prices start to seasonally top. There could be a lot moving. So it just seems like there's kind of a heavy amount of risk here on the table. But I mean, with option expiration coming up, looks like there's a pretty heavy amount of open interest in the 215 strike, anywhere between 213 to 215 level. And it seems like the market could probably gravitate towards those levels for now, just going into Friday. So something to just be cautious of. Also, manage money, start reducing their position a little bit, which is kind of a surprise given the strength in cash right now. I mean, they still are heavily long this market, but they did take off 1,200 contracts in the live cattle and about 700 in the feeders. So, we'll see if this is the beginning of something or maybe just kind of a one-off week. But yeah, so a lot of fear here just because of the potential for beef prices to top. So once again, just stay protected at all times here, cattle wise. guys. The hog side of things, yeah, cutout has just been really leading the charge here. 107.22, belly's up $7 on Friday. So we're really seeing the meat markets kind of trade in sync right now. Maybe we're seeing beef prices start to hold up. Pork cut out a little bit, but obviously some of the strong rhetoric that was from China, over the weekend may get a little bit of headline concerns here. Otherwise, we're knocking on, making fresh highs for the move, knocking on the door still at contract highs. I think everybody's going to stay optimistic that we're going to see that, especially with the strength in cutout. On the other hand, cash was down 355 on Friday. So you got a little bit of a push and pull at the same time. So we'll see what takes precedence. All in all, managed money still pretty long this market, adding 2,700 contracts, almost 3,000 contracts the previous week, and a big jump in open interest. So it still feels like the trade wants to stay long for right now.
Very good. Appreciate the update. So one of our viewers, James Costello, wants us to have a little fun here today, guys. We'll start at the top. Justin, does D-Score end the week higher or lower?
Unchanged.
Oh, come on.
That's like zero. That's like saying zero and Price is Right, huh?
Yeah. $1.
Ben, what do you got? Higher or lower?
Well, I think that right now the managed money is committed to a short. They had every reason to get out 2 weeks ago. They waited until Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week to pound it. So I think they sow seeds of optimism Monday, Tuesday before they try to get it into new lows. So I'm going to go with lower, and I hope that I'm wrong.
Dust, what do you got?
Double digits higher.
That a
Yeah.
boy.
There we
That a
go.
boy.
That's what we like to hear.
That's what brings
Team
the viewers
Boston.
back. That a boy.
Let's see.
that'll go
Let's see what the cattle guy says for corn here.
Going higher. I'm super pulled up. All this craziness going on. Let's go. I'm with Dustin.
All right, Jace, what do you got?
I'm with Ben. Lower on the week.
Nick Fred, that's why I trade with Dustin.
We're split.
Yeah.
I'm still Team Dustin. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'm all for it, but I don't see what we're going to. I think they're committed right now.
Yeah, I think it's bad for business to say lower, so I'm just gonna say, higher.
Well,
What if we're lower and puts are lower? That might be a good call.
Yeah, it's probably there. You go. Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna.
Yeah.
This could potentially overtake Fun Fact Friday. Fun Fact Friday. If we start doing this every week, guys. James, thanks for the fun, man. That was good stuff. We a couple things to point out again. We'll get Crush at 2:00. Take a look there, write about it in the afternoon letter, and then talk about it tomorrow morning. Also, we got crop conditions and crop progress at 3:00 Central. So we'll take a look at that as well. Visit about that tomorrow morning. Appreciate everybody that tunes in on a daily basis. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like and certainly subscribe. It'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on with AgYield. So again, thanks to everybody that supports the show. We're doing this live every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. It was a good show. Hope everybody has a good start to the week, and we look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.